we came here for one thing and one thing only, right? Right, Juanito?
That's right. Let's talk about Donda. Donda,
Love
what's up? Everybody listen to it?
Donda, 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 Donda.
What's some of your immediate takeaways from it, or what's your biggest takeaways from it? We'll start. What about you, Goose? What are you thinking?
It's about time, man. We were waiting for a month. This wasn't the first time Kanye ever, postponed a release. I remember Life of Pablo. He had this whole like rented out show for it. I think they were waiting on like Chance the Rapper or something, so it was like a couple hours late when everyone is expecting it. Then it leaked, and fast forward to now, he waits
Donda.
pushes the project off a whole month, which is like, that. I don't think he's the first to delay a project, but he really had people going.
Do you guys think that sort of delay helped the album, or do you think it really do you think it was so overhyped that whenever the album came out that it sort of decreased the quality of it in a way, or do you think that sort of delay helped it?
I mean, because like anytime something gets pushed back and you're having these extravagant Donda release parties and there's like thousands of people and he's like in a mask and it's like, oh my God, yeah. Well, we're gonna push it back. It was like, okay. Now this is the one. Everyone gets excited. Yeah. Well, not yet. It's like, it made happen. It not saying that it was like it's bad, because he has some classic albums, man. It's really hard to top yourself. You know what I mean? He has like multiple classic albums. So this one is like, I think it's really kind of dampened a little bit. What do you guys think?
I definitely agree. I feel like a lot of the hype, especially with Kanye West, what makes him such a prolific artist is the fact that every time he drops something, in a way he's pushing music forward, or he's transcending it using his own voice or his own sound. And I feel like with this album, and honestly kind of the same thing with Jesus is King and with Ye, I feel like he hasn't taken music anywhere further than where it's at. I feel like he's sort of playing into a lot of sounds that are popular at the time, which I mean is cool. Maybe I'm just a little bit disassociated with music because I feel like I'm an old man at this point. I'm just not really fucking with what the kids are listening to as much. So maybe that's why I'm not enjoying it as much. But I feel like I'm not hearing as much of Kanye's voice in the music, at least with the last few projects. But that's just me.
I mean, I think the original question was like, did it help him? Did it hinder? Holding it back? I saw a lot of things on Twitter, like this whole beef he has with Drake. I don't know if it has anything to do with their own release dates and they kind of time it that way. I don't think it helped. Back in the day when Life of Pablo came out, the hype was there. Oh, dude, it's been an hour. Where's the leak? How come it hasn't released? That was cool. But having your fans wait a whole month and then some, that was pretty whack. I don't know that anyone else tuned in, especially for that. I mean, all the Kanye fans that I knew were like looking forward to it. We all got pissed off because it wasn't out. And then, I mean, I don't even think it released on his word. Like, I remember Sunday morning, it was like 6 a.m. People were already talking about it. I had to find it on Spotify, like under a hidden playlist. Like, it wasn't under Kanye West. It was under like Kanye West searches. And then below some of the, bangers was the 26 songs, 27 songs. And then, I mean, that's when I started listening to it. But then I think, because I think there was like a deal with Apple Music because you were able to pre-order it off of Apple Music last month. So I think it was supposed to be released there first. And then I know he had like a rant or something that he was upset about because it came out. And then after that, I think he came out with that 27th song, Jail Part 2, which Jail, great song. We'll get to that, but I don't think it helped. I think it just pissed everyone off. Back in the day, hype. Today, poorly executed.
How'd you guys feel about the length? I was just going to ask, how do you guys feel, taking into consideration how many delays and stuff came along with the album? How did you guys feel about the length of the album? Like, in terms of how long of an album it was?
What were you going to say, Russ?
Yeah, well, just to respond to that, I mean, I think every artist, which is sad to say, when they kind of get over that hill and it's kind of like you start putting out albums, it's not quite what it used to be at the height of their career, when it was like anything Kanye touched, man, was just hot. you get to this point,
Graduation.
everybody, it's everybody.
My dark twisted fantasy.
You know, I mean, like, if you were to roll back like 10 years, if this album with 26 songs came out like 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, it was like, yo, man, this is crazy. Now it's like, it seems to be too much of just kind of mediocre songs. It's like, cool, but are they cool because I like Kanye, or are they cool because they're just good songs? You know what I mean? When you're a fan of somebody, you're gonna like them, whatever they put out. But then it's kind of like, but I put this on over any of his other music? Probably not. You know what I mean? You know, Graduation. You know, My Dark Twisted Fantasy. Well, any album you throw a dart at any one of his albums that are not as quite as many songs, and you go, well, yeah, it's cool. That's kind of like anybody that's heard us, like, yeah, you know, yeah, yeah, you know. So the length, the delay, and the length of it was kind of hurt it. And then whatever's going on with Drake, and then he took off Jay-Z's verse and he put it back on, and took off the Baby's verse and he put it back on. Oh, man,
he did do that.
a lot going on.
It's interesting seeing how I feel about this project with Kanye, seeing as to like how long it is. Because like you were saying, if this album would have dropped 10 years ago with that length, like people were dropping long albums for a long time. That was a move. It's funny seeing Kanye because I feel like he had Jesus is King, and before Jesus is King is when he did those like the 5 albums in 5 months. They were all like 7 tracks each.
I'm bipolar. It's awesome.
Yeah, that was, and then he Daytona as well. And I feel like that was probably the last time where Kanye. I think that was Kanye's last extremely good work, was his production on Daytona.
Very
personally.
experimental.
Yeah, and I kind of think he performed better in that like short song album type of environment versus this long song album type of environment. I don't know. I guess like I would have enjoyed the album a lot more if it was a little bit shorter, but just because a lot of those songs he were giving us was just kind of some mids, to be honest. You know what I mean? It was just a lot of mids being pushed through.
Oh man.
Hector, well, you haven't said anything. Let's hear it.
Oh, I thought it was alright. It was cool, I guess. Like, I only liked a couple of his tracks. Like, out of 26 songs, I liked maybe like 4. Yeah. 4 or 5. Like, it wasn't a bad album, though. I thought it was cool.
Do you guys think you'll ever listen to it again all the way through? Sorry about that.
Kanye, though, man. Oh, just to say, yeah, it was okay.
I'd give it another listen because I heard it in my car. So
it reminded me of Yeezus a little bit.
In which way would you say that?
A little more, I don't know, the guitar. Like, I know some of the sounds he uses, like he's usually like on his little deck or just fucking with it. I felt like this one, it had some of that gospel from Jesus is King, but it also had, I don't know, some. I mean, there was like, I think Jail was the one with Jay-Z, and it just gave me, Watch the Throne vibes. So it was familiar Kanye things we know. There weren't any like pop songs, like anything that was like, oh, this is going to be the single from the album. I mean, a lot of it was very emotional, and I mean, Kanye's an emotional guy. I don't think all of this came out in the last 6 months. I feel like he's been building this album because it's super long. He's never released like a 15, 20 like song track list. Like it's always been super short. He's like, it's short and to the point. I just think the length, it was a lot. I'd give it a whole listen through.
Okay, what would you grade it out of 10?
Like his best work, I don't think this was his best work.
Okay, what would you say?
Like I'd have to agree with Juan. It's a solid mid, like a solid 8. Like it.
Okay.
I'll listen to it when I'm on my bike ride for an hour. If I'm going for a run, I'll listen to the album. Because a lot of it, I don't know, some of it was like internal struggle. It was like how, some of these demons I'm fighting, some of like, whatever each person individually is going through. To me, it just happened to hit at a time where I'm like, yeah, this is my second wind. Kanye's kind of like a cocky dude, but he has like an optimistic spirit where he can kind of get any job done. And so right now, I mean, the guy's he went through a divorce. He went through, this whole thing with people judging him for the elections, and he's wild, man. Like he has a very extreme view of things, but I still find myself wanting to be on his side, you know, after all that. And even after this album, I think, is it his best work? I wouldn't say. It's a solid 8.
It's a solid, like, it's a low 7, bro.
That's I was thinking the same thing. Probably like 7.5 tops for me.
Yeah, I don't want to break your heart, but
it's okay.
7. We can meet in the middle, like, 7.5. All right.
Well, I had a hard time getting through I feel like getting through the first third of the album, because it took me like 2 days to really get through the whole thing. That first third of the album was really fucking tough to get through, dude.
Kanye,
it wasn't until I got to like the middle of the album. That's whenever he went on like a 4 banger run, like right in the middle. I actually wrote him down. I think it was like Believe What I Say, Remote Control, Moon, and Heaven and Hell. He went on like this run
in Heaven and Hell.
Yeah, where I was like, okay, this like sounds like he's trying to do something different here. He's trying to like transcend whatever's going on in music right now. But just the beginning of the album and then going through the end. And I think just in general, at least for me, dude, I don't really rock with gospel Kanye. And it's probably because I'm an atheist. I'm realizing that I'm kind of just not rocking with the gospel. I mean, some of the songs, some of the production goes hard and stuff, but it's just like in my day-to-day life, I'm not trying to listen to some fucking gospel personally. All love to anyone who wants to listen to it, but that's just not my, like, if I'm trying to listen to some hip hop, I'm not trying to think about Jesus while I'm doing it.
Now
personally.
Jesus.
Yeah.